a woman is what you should be proud of. It is not what you should be ashamed of. And as a matter of fact, it is what you should be unapologetic about. It's another time to connect with you on the program Women on Wheels here on Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM. I'm Tiawo Baruwa. On today's edition of the show, I will be discussing with another woman in the house who is breaking the barrier in a men-dominated profession. My guest is an associate in Arab, that's a Lagos office. She manages the climate and sustainable portfolio and plays a strategic role in the cities and property portfolio, covering projects on city resilience, resources, water, renewable energy, and water. When I say all of these things, you can relatively, pick what this person does. With a background in civil engineering and training as a registered engineering in Nigeria, current, a certified project manager, a lead auditor for both ISO, that's environmental and quality management system. She has evolved over the years working with multi-sector clients, project sponsors, donor agencies, high-level stakeholders, managing multidisciplinary projects in West Africa. I am sure you're wondering who this person is. Oh, well, this program is Women on Wheels here on Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM, and it is brought to you by Toyota Nigeria Limited, the sole distributor of the Toyota brand in this part of the world. Once again, good evening and welcome to Women on Wheels. Lagos, Nigeria, join me in welcoming the chairman, Nigerian Society of Engineers Ikeja branch in the building tonight. Nimot Muili is with me in the studio. Good evening, Nimot.
Yeah, good evening. Thank you very much for having me.
Good to have you in the studio. How are you today?
I'm very well, thank you.
How was the day for you?
Well, the engineering way, quite busy but exciting as usual.
Oh, really? The engineering way? I am not an engineer. My husband is not an engineer, so I might not necessarily be able to connect with what you're talking about. Okay, maybe engineer King Bagwon would understand.
Sure.
All right, then it's good to have you on the program. So let's get down to business. Who is Nimot Muili? Being a civil engineer, I would like to know how this started for you.
All right, thank you so very much. I think you've slightly mentioned my background. I'm a civil engineer by training. I schooled in the University of Lagos, the University of First Choice. In my undergrad, I did civil engineering and went for that to do a master's in civil and environmental engineering structures option. So you want to ask me what inspired this?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I come from a home that we are mostly either engineers, builders, and maybe a bit of management. So growing up, I watched my parents. I also watched my aunties and uncles. And I was really so fascinated with the approach to solving society and environmental challenges. So that includes catering for housing needs, road infrastructure, healthcare, and basically things that virtually every other discipline depends on to thrive. I mean, just imagine I don't have a road to come here, you don't have a building to house me, you don't have the electrical gadget to make this happen.
So amplify your voice.
Exactly. So just think about every other thing around you. They all rely on engineering. And of all the various disciplines, I find civil engineering quite interesting because it enables me to connect with virtually every discipline, including the investors. I mean, you want to know what you would do to really transform the economy, transform lives, reach out to people, school, healthcare, everything you can think of. So I decided to go for the civil engineering option. I remember my dad asking me, will you switch to chemical engineering? And I was like, oh, I've already conceived what I wanted to be. I've imagined, I've imagined I'm going to, see people living in the house, people moving on the road, and, then maybe bridges were one of the things that, I was thinking I can design a bridge and all of that. So it started at home, and I would say I made the idea very bold in my mind, and I pursued it. So initially it was challenging, I will be honest about that. And I remember at one time I was not particularly so keen about continuing, but I was like, what is stopping me? Myself. So I advanced.
Amazing. Let's talk about the difference in the paperwork and the practical nature of a civil engineer. Which of the divides? Where do you belong? Where do you belong out of the two? Is it the paperwork side of the civil engineering or the practical side of it? Where you have to dig a borehole or be on the site and all of that?
All right, so I sit on both sides, and this is what I mean. I work as a consultant.
Okay.
And while deciding to be a consultant, I was intentional about it. One, I was intentional that I like my family time. I like my time. And I will also say, in a way, I like good look. I want to be able to... I don't want to be...
You don't want to wear overall?
Yes, I don't want to wear overall all the time. I do wear overall. I also want to, be able to do coco once in a while. So I opted for the consultancy option. And being a consultant implies that I will do the paperwork first, and now give it to the contractor.
Okay.
So I do the paperwork, I give it to the contractor, my design for implementation. I also monitor the work. So I've been involved in a lot of projects across Nigeria and also in some other West African countries like Ghana and Liberia. Liberia was a major one, about 180 kilometer road connecting Liberia to Guinea. A part of rebuilding Liberia project.
Wow.
And also major routes like the Lekki Ekpe. During the concession, I was on that as
Amazing.
well. Yeah. And some a lot of other projects along the Ozumba and Badue. Very conspicuous is the Civic Center, the Civic Tower 1004, Marriott, a lot of them like that. So I like the paperwork because I want to really understand the project from inception to completion. So doing the paperwork will enable you to do the design, supervise it, work with the contractor in terms of, okay, this is what we've conceived. After interpreting what the architect has done, you interpret it as the engineer, the structural engineer, to make it realistic. Then the civil engineer will also come in terms of the external works, your road connection to other properties, and also a bit of environmental impact assessment of what is the implication of these developments directly on the users and indirectly around the other stakeholders around the project. So I really admire that, and I'll say I'm really enjoying it. So I do the paperwork as well as the implementation, but I don't get involved in the buying and digging of the borehole. So I still dig borehole, but I give that to a contractor to enable, to aid my design. Also like topographical survey to interpret maybe levels connecting to other infrastructure, water, sewage treatment plants, and so many other infrastructure that you want to connect your projects to.
Now, towing the path of what you just mentioned as regards projects within Lagos here, as a stakeholder and member of the organized private sector, tell me, what's your assessment about infrastructural development in Nigeria? A look at roads generally in this part of the world. the nature of the roads, considering the topography, right, of the soil, and then the nature of Lagos being a coastal city, right? What's your assessment of infrastructure in this part of the world?
All right, that's a very interesting question, and I think I'll break it down into 3 parts.
Go ahead.
I'll speak from the Nigerian Society of Engineers Infrastructure Scorecard, and the scorecard, we did the 2nd edition in year 2021. I was privileged to work with past presidents in the Nigerian Society of Engineers to do an assessment of what the overall infrastructure is, and that includes like healthcare, correctional center, housing, school, road, and we spoke to the then Minister for Road, Power and Housing.
Okay.
So we also engage stakeholders across Nigeria, speaking to both private sector and the public sector. And as of 2001, our overall assessment of the infrastructure in Nigeria overall is F, which is about 40% below the average of about 70% that is recommended by global rating.
Okay.
So fast forward to 2023.
Okay.
In Lagos, we decided to domesticate this same infrastructure scorecard, and we came up with the version for Lagos. For Lagos, we look at 5 major infrastructure: road, school, housing, healthcare, and one other one I can't remember offhand. And our overall assessment was about 50%. Part of what we did in terms of the road was assessment of the Apapa gridlock, which, it's used to be a menace, but gradually is easing out. Also the Otedola Bridge, we studied that. Then we also look at the interconnectivity of roads, the availability and the usability. So we engage the Lagos residents across board. We deployed questionnaire. Then we also have focus group interview. We ran jingle. People posted question and attended to. So overall, we had about 50%. So you will want to agree with me that Lagos state infrastructure is gradually improving. Because virtually we are traveling 10 kilometers. Or let me say 25 kilometers, you have a mixture of good and, relatively, road. So I would say based on our score, our infrastructure scorecard that we did in 2021 and looking at what we have currently today. Between 2021 and 2023 and 2025, we've had the red line running, the blue line. We've also had some other interconnecting roads going under the bypass, just to, the Oregon link bridge is currently ongoing. Yes, to Mende. So you can see those things that it might look like bits and pieces, but overall, just imagine what that will be when it is fully implemented.
Let's digress a bit. I must really commend, your association. While you guys do all of that, that's the Nigerian Society of Engineers. But let's focus on the meat of the program, which is, you as a woman and how you thrive in a men-dominated world. How do you relate with the male counterpart, especially in this kind of industry? As the chairman of the Ikeja branch, when you say yes, is your yes, or you have the orgas at the top to consult?
Okay, I'll say I have a very interesting career path. Currently, the first and only female sitting on the board of Overop and Partners Nigeria Limited, AROP, the Lagos office.
Amazing.
And I would say it's not a case of she needs to be there or we need a female, but it's a case of you need to do the work. With all sense of humility, I would say that I don't feel threatened, really. I go for what I believe in. I let my ideas to be bold in my mind.
Good.
It might take me time, but I'll break it down. I tell people that you can't get a rose without you ready to cope with the turn. So the turns of leadership is there. Sometimes you get threatened, sometimes you burn the midnight candle to make the end meet.
True.
So it's, for me, it's been a sweet sour experience, and I would say it's really sweet because I find myself very unique in a male-dominated environment.
Absolutely.
And I'm also learning to deliver, not to just occupy the post. So I would say it's one, believe in yourself. Know exactly what you want to do. Be sure that this is genuinely you. Go for what you believe in, and just be you. Deliver what you have to do. No apologies. I know it's a male-dominated field, but really
be unapologetic about you.
Exactly. So just go for it.
All right.
So if I'm going to the board meeting, I don't see myself as, I'm going to meet my male colleague, but I see myself as, I'm going to, for a board meeting, I'm going to contribute my own quota. I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do. So no excuses.
All right, then, Lagos, you're listening to the voice of Nimot Muili. She is a civil engineer and, of course, the chairman of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, the prestigious Nigerian Society of Engineers, the Ikeja branch. And yes, let's also tell you that the roads are looking quite okay tonight. No major breakdown causing any form of gridlock. Moving on to other questions now, Nimot. Let's talk about what it feels like. Yes, sitting on that board as the chairman of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. What does it feel like as a woman?
Yeah, I would say it feels like wow. So
why does it feel that way?
Yeah, it feels that way because women are minority in that space.
Okay.
And I won't say we will struggle to get our work notice, but the reality is that you do tries as what your male counterpart does, because you want to be sure that, yes, my name is spelled NIMOT, not otherwise. Okay. I want to be sure that, I need to be at the studio by 7:30. I can't be a minute late. So women were wired like that, and we do the work. They notice we do the work. They call you sometimes to come and take this position. So that's my own case, and I feel so excited to have been called to serve this Nigerian Society of Engineers and continually serving, going through various positions. So it's not a one-off like, you contest being a chairman. You must have all strategic posts. Like I was previously a welfare. That was a lot of work where people see, she has the potential to lead. I've also led the Association of Professional Women Engineers far back 2014. Yes. So a lot of my male counterparts see what I can do, and most importantly, I think I also believe in myself. So when I contested, I know I contested with my other male counterparts, and one was like, can you step down for me and all of that. I would have loved to, but I really believe in myself that I have the skill, I can deliver, and I can make a change. So I went for it.
All right, then. In a minute, tell me one of the most challenging, times you've had in this society, Nigerian Society of Engineers, especially as the chairman of your branch?
Well, I would say it was when I was not as a chairman per se, because I think I was already well prepared. I was a vice chairman, almost like a vice president, seeing the various work that needs to be done. So my time is still very short. I was elected in August. Oh, good. But I think the most challenging post I've ever held in Nigerian Society of Engineers is as the welfare secretary, when I had to cater, like everybody's coming for conference from the branch. I need to get hotel, I need to get everybody sorted, and it was a lot. We went to Uden, and it was really, really a lot. Talking to people, looking for a good hotel, making sure everybody arrives safely and all of that. So I think that was one of the most challenging ones. Every other thing, also serving in infrastructure scorecard, meeting high stakeholders, preparing.
I was actually coming to that.
Yes. So, right now, I've been geared to really take on this chairmanship, and I think my leadership role at work also is really very helpful in managing the society.
Let's look at some of the infrastructural deficit we have in this part of the world. Sometimes we get stories of a building collapse, and then you being the chairman of your branch in Ikeja, for instance, there is a building collapse somewhere within this area, and then you're being called upon, yourself and your escort, to give an assessment of the situation, and then you have to propose something to the government. Sometimes, do you ever get timid of presenting what the situation is? Because, give or take, whether we like it or not, you're a stakeholder in this industry and your assessment matters. You see it, do you present it as it is?
Yeah, thank you very much. So we are a society, and there is no me without a society. So in the Society of Nigerian Society of Engineers, we have the Engineering Regulation and Monitoring Committee. Recently, we did a work against building collapse with the Nigerian Institute of Civil Engineers. It was a nationwide work against building collapse. The Nigerian Institute of Civil Engineers is a division of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. So we have branches and divisions that take into consideration all of this. When we were doing some of the reports we submitted, there is no point you being timid about what will affect the majority of stakeholders. Just imagine when a building collapse. It's not a case of I give one person an injection and one life is lost. It's a case of 100.
Multiple.
So we give the report as it is. When there are issues with the approval processes, we let the government know that, okay, we can partner and look at the process, and that's what part of the process in LAPCA, which is the accredited professional, where professionals are deployed to see the process of the building regulation. So we don't compromise. We come up with our own independent report. If I'm called upon, I call on my committee, or sometimes we even call on COREN, because we work with Lagos State government. We have monitoring committees that does all of that. So there's never been a time that we are timid. We say that's why the organization, the society is established, and we say it as it is for a better society.
I have two more questions before we go, so you're going to answer them in just 2 minutes. Do you think your society made you the chairman of your branch because of your meekness? Because I know that there will be some other women that sound tougher and assertive in your society. But do you think you were picked or you were chosen because of your meekness?
No, I was not chosen. I elected, and I got a landslide win.
Oh, a landslide win?
Yes.
Was it an unopposed election?
No, two of us were three.
Okay.
Somebody stepped down, and two of us went all out.
All right, then. What would be advice to women and, of course, girls out there?
Yeah, so girls, women, ladies, be bold in your ideas. That we always it's not always going to be a bed of roses, but know exactly what you want. Be you, stay focused, and you'll win.
All right, then. Thank you so much. The words of Nimot Muili. She is the chairman, Nigerian Society of Engineers, Ikeja branch here in Lagos. Thank you so much for being a part of the program tonight.
Thank you so much for having me, and thanks to the sponsor, Toyota Nigeria.
Thank you so much. We'll leave it at that for now. This is Women on Wheels, and the program has been brought to you by Toyota Nigeria Limited, the sole distributor of the Toyota brand in Nigeria. This program has been produced by Ajose Uluwale, Idowadeyemi, Fomilade Akingbagbo. Maximum thanks to Okwemi Shodunke, the social media manager, and of course, maximum thanks to Victor Terry. Our executive producer is Tayo Akonle. I remain Tiawo Baruwa. The program makes a return next week, Tuesday at 7:30. Lagos, enjoy the rest of your evening and drive safe.